Hey everybody, and welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. This time I'm bringing you the review for Kevin Hart's What Now epic comedy special that has to go to theaters because he broke all these records for selling out a stadium. And does this movie live up to the hype? Alright guys, so I am no fool. I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate comments on this video, but I have to bring it straight and I'm going to just dive right into it. I thought this movie was fucking terrible. This was so bad. And if you love Kevin Hart, don't think that I hate Kevin Hart, because I've watched his other stand-up specials and I've loved them. I've laughed my ass off. I've watched them multiple times, but this one did not live up to the hype. I'm sorry, this was so bad. Which brings me to the stand-up comedy itself, which I also did not find very funny. I did laugh in it. Yes, I will tell you I did laugh, but not as much as you should in a stand-up show. I've watched tons of Comedy Central stand-up skits where they have a little tiny audience, and they are fucking hilarious, and I laughed at every single joke. This movie, I laughed very rarely, and I almost even fell asleep a couple times because his stand-up was just so... He does this thing that drives me nuts, where to tell one joke, it takes him a long time because he laughs at himself before he even tells it, and he repeats the joke over and over and over again, just beats you on the head with it. He can't just like tell a joke naturally. He has to do this thing where he's like, okay, let me tell you. Okay, oh my god, you won't believe this. Okay, let me tell you. And it's like, just say the joke. God damn. Fucking say the joke already. And then when he does say it, it's not nearly as funny as his little laughs led you to believe they were gonna be. And I think they knew that when they made this, because almost every single joke, it cuts to an audience member going, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, it was not that funny. He could be like, yeah, and then I tripped, and they'd be like, yes. It's like, Jesus Christ, you little drones. Are they paying you to fucking laugh at every little thing he says? My God. And it just made me laugh even less because I couldn't even pay attention to his jokes because they're always going to the audience members who are laughing at unfunny things. And then you got this huge stadium in the back, or like all these screens and stuff, which have to re-emphasize what he's saying. It's almost like he's doing a stage show where he's doing an act or something, because he'll be doing a joke where it talks about him being in front of a garage, and so it'll zoom and make it look like he's in front of a garage, and then as he tells the joke, it's almost like it animates his joke for him, which just takes away from the stand-upness of it. It's like they didn't believe in his jokes enough, or he didn't, or somebody didn't, that they're like, look, these aren't that funny, so let's put a bunch of animations in the back to distract people and make them think it's funny when it's not. Oh, God. And then the other thing that he does is he'll repeat the joke over and over and over again to the point that the audience can memorize it and say it with him, almost like a band when they got a chorus that people sing along. Like, for example, I'm sorry, a spoiler alert, one of the jokes, at some point in it, he talks about this raccoon that grabs his dick and walks into the dark. And he literally, like 10 times in a row, laughs at himself as he repeats it over and over again. And the first time it was kind of funny, but then he's just like, get it? There's a raccoon that grabs his dick and goes into the dark. There's a raccoon that grabs his dick and goes into the dark. A raccoon that grabs his dick and goes into the dark. A raccoon that grabs his dick and goes into the dark. A raccoon that grabs his dick and goes into the dark. It's just like, fuck, I fucking get it, you motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. But the reason he does that is so that later in the show, he can bring it up randomly in some other unfunny segment where someone's outside, and then he's like, and then you know what I saw? A raccoon grabbing, and then it'll cut to the audience going, grabbing his dick and going into the dark. He's the best, yeah! And it's just like, oh God, I just wanted to shoot myself in the fucking head the whole time I was watching this movie. And basically the biggest problem with it wasn't the stand-up, it was all the skit stuff surrounding it. Because the fact is, a lot of stand-ups, you see them on Comedy Central, they have those little skitted things where they're getting ready for their show and then they go out there and then do the stand-up. And I don't know anybody that ever likes those little skit things that lead up to those. I always just start with the stand-up. I don't give a shit about all your unfunny stuff beforehand. And this movie drags on for like 30 to 40 minutes or maybe fucking 2 hours for all I know. That's what it felt like before the stand-up even starts, doing this really crappy, shitty fucking thing of like him being the secret agent, and he's got to go meet with a bunch of like people like Holly Berry and Don Cheadle and Ed Helms just because they had to budget to put them in there. And it was really pointless. It was really not funny. I remember sitting there thinking, did I make a mistake? Is there even any stand-up in this thing? Or is this just one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen? Because I was close to walking out if they didn't start the stand-up pretty soon, because it was so bad. And they felt like the stars didn't even want to be there. Like Holly Berry, I felt like, you know what, you gave me a check, I'll be here. The comedy didn't hit at all. It was just like, I don't know why they did that. It wasn't like, it was obvious they weren't trying to make a real movie in the skit thing. And it was obvious that the writing was terrible. So why the hell did they bother putting that in there? I guarantee it's because they had a huge fucking budget and they put as much as they could into a show. But I mean, there's only so much of a budget you can put into a stand-up comedian show. So they're like, let's just throw the other money at some stars and get some more name power in this so that we can release it in theaters and make more money. You know, and it was just such a waste of time. My God. Now, look, with all due respect, I really respect Kevin Hart. He's a megastar. He definitely deserved to have that stadium sold out. His movies are pretty decently funny, even though they're always kind of the same thing. He deserves the status that he has. He is definitely a megastar, and I don't want to take anything away from that. It's just, this movie had so much more potential. If they would have just focused on the stand-up comedy, just focus on his comedy, don't focus on these crappy skits beforehand, don't focus on all these animations on the background, just write your jokes, man. Because when he does his stand-up and there's nothing distracting you from that, when they're not editing to the audience laughing every 2 seconds, when they're not editing to the animations showing the text that he's talking about, when they're not doing these crappy secret agent things that aren't funny, then it would have been good. Just focus on your writing and your jokes, because that's when it hits. That's why his other specials were so good, because it focused on his jokes. And this movie does not do that. So for that reason, this movie gets a brand new rating. I'm going to have to give this movie fucking trash. It is not worth fucking anything else. Alright guys, so before you start throwing a bunch of hate comments down there, make sure you actually watch the movie first and then throw your hate comments down there. Or tell me if you agree with me. Do you think this movie had a lot more potential that it just didn't live up to? Don't you think he should focus on his jokes more than all this extra bullshit? Let me know, comment below. Oh boy. Also remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much everything at Niddleman. Stay tuned for more reviews if you can handle it. Go.